Okay, will Major League Baseball implement a salary cap? Now, the current CBA expires on December the 2nd, 2026, so in about a year and a half's time, which will be 5 years to the day since the start of the last lockout in 2021. Now, the relationship between the league and the League Players Association, so Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball PA, are not great. Okay, they weren't great going into the 2021-2022 lockout, and the seeds of that had been sown many years before, but the relationship really started to get strained during the return to play negotiations in 2020. Now, the last lockout, coming out of that, it was hinted that the owners at the next CBA negotiations wanted a salary cap. Now, the owners do want a salary cap. How it is structured is going to be interesting. But the arguments for a salary cap are very, very similar to the arguments the NHL had 20 years ago during their season wiping out lockout. Yes, that lockout of 2004-2005 where we lost a whole season, that was 20 years ago. But the arguments that Major League Baseball owners are having are exactly the same as the NHL owners. They want cost certainty. There are concerns about teams struggling financially. There are stadium issues. There were many NHL teams that were struggling financially 20 years ago. There were arena issues. There were, the TV contracts. They wanted to speed up play, which the Major League Baseball has done. They have sped up play under Rob Manfred as commissioner. But they wanted to make the game more exciting. They wanted cost certainty. There was a whole load of other issues as well. The Players Association were against the salary cap to begin with. Then the divisions started to play out, and the league played upon those divisions. They won the argument in the end. And revenue sharing was another big part of the CBA negotiations. Now, we have had another lockout in the NHL since 2004-2005. Admittedly, only half a season was lost, but there was still labour unrest. It seems now the NHLPA and the NHL seem to have a better working relationship than what they did. Major League Baseball, however, the relationship between the Players Association and the league is not great. And we saw that during the last lockout and in the build-up to the last lockout. Now, the owners want this salary cap. The Players Association are, at the moment, publicly united against it. Now, privately, there may be players who may feel that a salary cap is going to be inevitable and they're going to have to make concessions. I think in order to get a salary cap, the team owners are going to have to make concessions. But in 2021, neither side went into those CBA negotiations negotiating in good faith. It was a very difficult 3 months for Major League Baseball. Now, this is a league that has had many labour stoppages since the 70s, and I have covered the Major League Baseball players' stoppages and lockouts in many videos on the channel. Covered it at great depth and great length. Now, they will get a salary cap. It's going to happen. But in order to get a salary cap, we may have a player strike or a lockout in order to get there. And I think a lockout is most likely in 2026. I've done a video on that. But I do think we get a salary cap. But the owners will probably have to give some ground to the Players Association. And the Players Association eventually is going to have to give concessions as well. But in my opinion, I think for the 2027 season, we will have a salary cap in place. What that cap is structured like? Is it going to be similar to the NHL, a harder cap? Is it going to be similar to the NBA with a soft cap luxury tax hybrid, which is also similar to what the MLS has? Or will it be more of a slightly softer version of a salary cap like the NFL? Not quite as hard as the NHL, but like the NFL. From what the owners are hinting at, and some of the owners have publicly come out and said, they sort of want a hybrid between what the NBA and NFL has. A bit more of a softer cap with a little bit more flexibility than the NHL. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if both sides, the Players Association and the league, go into negotiations leading up to December the 2nd, 2026 in good faith, or if they allow the CBA to lapse again. Because I think if they do go for a lockout / a strike and they decide to allow the CBA to lapse, I could see this lockout being more protracted and more drawn out, if we do have one, than the one we saw in 2021 and 2022. But there we go. That's my thoughts on I think what's going to happen. A salary cap will be inevitable. It's a question of how we get to the league implementing it. If there is a labour stoppage, how long it's going to be, and what the relationship between the Major League Baseball Players Association and the league, is that strengthened or weakened? Does the relationship break down completely? And does that mean that Rob Manfred, will he see out his term as commissioner, or will he be forced out before 2029? So we'll see what happens, but I think Major League Baseball will implement a salary cap for 2027. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.